Hey, it's Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online, U.S. History from 1877 to present. Today we're going to pick up with Unit 9, the New Deal, and lesson number 2, FDR Restores American Confidence. Now you have to understand something about the 1930s. When FDR becomes president in 1932, he finds a mess, and the mess is, unemployment, of course, that's rampant, people losing their homes. And one of the biggest problems that he had, of course, was the American public didn't see the national government as a means to provide them with any kind of help. Because, see, during Hoover's time as president, Hoover, emphasized something called rugged Americanism, which simply meant that everybody should be able to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, of course, and do what they could themselves with as little government interference as possible. It was the laissez-faire attitude, of course, of business that he was bringing, of course, to this particular period in the history of America. Today, what we're going to do is look at how FDR, starts to stem the tide and start Americans to start thinking that they should have confidence in the American government again to provide them and help, with help in times of great need. The use of the radio, fireside chats by FDR was the first real use of the medium to communicate a political agenda. FDR was able to use the medium to communicate with the American public the plan, which was the New Deal. It was also important to calm fears and tell the public where, when, and how they could get relief. Television in the 1950s would assume a similar position in the mass media. Today, of course, we look at the World Wide Web or the internet, of course, as a means of mass media, of course, that is being used more and more, of course, by politicians, of course, to get their messages out. So when we look at the impact of radio, of course, in the 1930s, of course, is that first new medium that, of course, that politicians make use of. And FDR becomes a master of it. And one of the first things that he does, of course, with the fireside chats, as we said a few seconds ago, is he wanted Americans to understand and know that the federal government more or less had their backs. And all they had to do, of course, is listen to where, when, and how. What we're going to do now is have you do a little something to get a little deeper understanding about the impact of FDR's New Deal by using a lesson from PBS Learning Media. What we want you to do is to navigate to the video description at the end of the lesson, click on the link provided, and complete the video and answer discussion questions, background reading, and activities to give you insight how FDR accomplished restoring American confidence. Once you have completed the lesson, convert your work to a PDF, print, and turn in to your teacher for a grade. And so when we look at this first 100 days, this activity, of course, details, the nuts and bolts of what you could, of FDR's New Deal, and what you could do, of course, to, as a citizen at that time, what you could do, of course, to provide a little help for you and your family. So what we'll do is take a few moments and allow you, of course, to navigate and complete the assignment, and we'll be back in a little while. We hope you enjoyed that video on the first 100 days in FDR Restoring American Confidence. Remember, it's very important to understand that when it comes to the first 100 days, it becomes kind of a precedent for presidents after FDR. And when they look at that first 100 days, it is a time, of course, for them to establish what their agenda is. The greatest success of FDR's first 100 days was that the American public gained faith in the government and FDR. During the Hoover administration, that was lost. Because if you remember, Hoover didn't do a whole lot to restore American confidence. In fact, he didn't do a whole lot to help out American citizens at all. He provided most of the help that he did was to American businesses. Since the first 100 days, it has become a landmark of president's administration, as we said earlier, and presidents use it to establish your agenda and to build support in Congress and with the American public. We hope you've enjoyed a little bit of that lesson, of course, that was FDR's first 100 days and FDR restoring confidence in the American public. We want you to understand, though, is this here. Don't take my word for it. Do as we always tell you to do. Go ahead and do your own research and reach your own conclusion, because it's America's history, which means it's your history. And with that, we'll see you next time.